Here we go, episode number 10. 10. I think I almost 10 weeks in a row, other than I think I missed 1 week or something like that. So it's already starting good. And this is just now getting into winter. Had my had my second basketball practice today. Have 7 guys trying out for our team. And like 5 of them are new. I think maybe 4. Like 4 of them are new. And so it's a whole starting over again. So I'm coaching basketball at the school that my church had. Was awesome. It's like 5 minutes down the road, so that makes it a lot easier. If anybody's got any comments or questions, I know people are going to be getting in here. We already got people watching. Appreciate you already clicking on here. If you have comments or questions, we're going to really talk about Tennessee, fishing in Tennessee stuff. That's what we're going to try to cover today. So if you got any questions or any stats you want to throw in there, maybe you know everything about fishing in Tennessee. I live in East Tennessee, and that's where I've done most of it. But there's several parts which we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about some state records and stuff coming up. But my guest today, we're going to go ahead and get to him, my buddy Josh, and he lives here in East Tennessee. We'll talk about how we met and stuff like that. But he's an expert fisherman. Knows everything about fish. There he is, Josh. Welcome to the channel.
Yeah, happy to be.
All right, man. Feel free to talk about anything you want to talk about and answer questions however you want to. Are you still, or did you move recently, or
Yeah,
are you still in Cleveland?
Yeah, I was living in West Tennessee for a little bit, and back in February, I took a different position with the job I have, and I got to move back home here in Cleveland. So I'm happy.
Are you looking to buy a place or what? What are you trying to do right now?
Right now I have
just
a place. I kind of went to my parents for a little bit and trying to save a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Next year, come 2023, I might move out here soon, but time will tell. So it's hard when you go living out on your own, then you come back home.
I did it like twice. I moved out and came back home like twice, and once was after I bought a house. I bought a house, lived there like a year and a half, and I'm like, man, this is tough. Moved back home, rented my house out. So yeah, it's awesome. But so Josh, if anybody don't know, so I think I met your dad first, like doing Heating and Air. I think we did. I think me and Jay went to your house, and I remember him telling me about you. I think you were just going to Tech.
Yep.
And he's like, oh yeah, my son fishes. He's all into fishing. And this is like right when I was starting my YouTube channel, and we were just talking about fishing and stuff. And I never would have known I came to like really know who you are. And we actually go out and gone fishing a few times and stuff. So it's kind of a long way around meeting you to meet and everything. But tell us who you are, how you got into fishing, what do you do now?
Yeah. If you don't know already, my name's Josh Bean. Fishing, I've started that at a very young age. My father and grandfather really, they obviously tried to get me into fishing, and it obviously worked. It from starting off at creeks and worms for bluegill, and now I throw, some people call it a willow limb, but I'm on a fly rod around now. I tie my own flies, sell them every now and then. I'm trying to learn a little bit and kind of get a little bit of experience in all types of fishing. I love it. Fly fishing's kind of grown on me the most, but I still get out there with a bait caster and spinning rod, and I'll lay the wood on them. It don't matter to me. But now I moved back home. I graduated from Tennessee Tech with a wildlife and fisheries degree in December 2020. Got a job with the TWRA right out of school in January 2021. I'm now on my third position with the agency. So I'm glad I started in West Tennessee. Now I'm back home here in Region 3, Cleveland, kind of the Middle East Tennessee. And I'm very happy to be back home, and I'm very happy to be where I am. So,
do you work in town here? Is that where, are you like your stationed or headquarters?
So if you call it an office, where I would show up every day is over towards the Hiawassee Refuge. It's
okay.
Over near Perch.
Yeah, gotcha. That's cool. Me and we and Josh went out when he just got a kayak, got an Old Town, and the first time we went out, if you haven't seen that video, I got some great underwater footage of a big old muskie breaking off his lure. But have you been back out for? Have you fished the glide bait anymore? Have you got any more of those in?
I went out a little bit. The glide bait bite was not very good this year. A lot of people told me the same thing. I don't know. It's been weird in general this year, especially if you have a routine or something you go through every year and conditions and certain styles you like to fish for. It's been kind of unorthodox this year. I haven't personally went out targeting muskie. They're fishing 10,000 casts for a reason.
Yeah.
I was definitely not fishing for a muskie that day, and that was the first fish I had in that kayak, and it took it like 10 feet from the kayak. It scared me a little bit, and you're about 100, 200 yards away, and I started yelling, and I was like, John, get over here. I couldn't believe it. It's the biggest muskie I've seen in there. And unfortunately, it broke me off. They got sharp teeth, people. Make sure you got steel.
Yeah. I know it's I put a post recently. I have a little clip where it was like 3 years ago on Parksville, and I'm reeling in, and it hits. Have you seen that where it hits right? It hits my spinnerbait. Like, it almost comes out of the water to get my spinnerbait right at my kayak. It's crazy. Like, I made it into a little reel. I was like, hey, I forgot about that. But it's still one of like the craziest bites I've ever attacked. So this is like, I'm just like, da da da, ah! And it's like boom, like that, and it's as long as me, or it's 4 foot long. You're like, that thing just was like, a foot from my hand. It just came out.
Yeah, they're slowly becoming favorite species of fish, and I never would have thought it would. But even though I've only had like 1 or 2 on in my life, but I want to go back. I want to try and catch another one and actually put it in my hands. So they're slowly becoming. They're number 2 or 3 on my favorite species list now.
Somebody asked here, speaking of that, what is your go-to muskie lure? Like, I caught one on a spinnerbait. I've caught one on a Hellgrammite. I caught one on what is it? Just like a worm.
Yeah.
Just like, so it's, for me, it's always been random. And I had one hit a spinnerbait, had one hit just a lure I was reeling in.
There's a lot of people that will catch more muskie on conventional bass lures. And it kind of catches them off guard because they're not prepared for it. And that happens more often than not. And if I had to pick one muskie lure, I would probably it would have to be the spinnerbait. It's flashy. You can use all kinds of different colors with it. You can take it through brush. Biggest thing on muskie that I've learned is make sure you got the right tackle when you're targeting them, because it could put some stress on the fish. They're resilient.
Yeah, I know a lot of people only target them in the winter, which now's the time where people will kind of start going for them. And like some of those rivers and streams that we have that have them where the fish will shut down, you're really only going for muskie. Like, you might get a bass or two, but a lot of the bass stuff won't be biting.
Water and more dissolved oxygen in the area. It's better for them, and it kind of makes the trip more enjoyable. You don't want to. I hate it when I catch a fish and it kind of dies or something like that. Especially like a large muskie. I'd make me sick to my stomach. So I'd out after him.
Oh yeah, somebody asked here, but buddy Kevin, what's up, Kevin? Fishing is getting tougher in small creeks. Yep, got skunked locally today. Fished a creek today that was loaded with fish in September. Didn't even see the fish. What tactics work better now? Nothing seems interested. Natural time in it. Yeah, I would say it's he's in Virginia, so he's up northeast Tennessee, just a little north of us. But even around here, I'm already seeing it where that's just what they do. The fish are slowing down. They're not going to be aggressive. I know, Josh, do you think like smaller presentations would that be a better option, or is it just got to find those deep holes that they're going to be kind of more in?
Maybe a smaller or a slower, probably like a slower working lure would probably be something I go for. Rivers and streams are going to cool down a lot faster than a lake or a pond. The fish are probably not where you were where you were chasing them earlier because this time of year it's starting. They're in the fall now, starting to move towards like wintering holes. Your best bet's probably fishing probably the deepest parts of the creek you can find. The places that's going to have deeper water year round. Also, it's a really drought year. Fish might not be focused on eating lures and stuff. It's been very, very dry. I think we're supposed to get some rain here in a little while. I'm excited for it if we get it. A lot of streams that I've been on this year and fished my whole life is the lowest I've ever seen them in my lifetime. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping and praying we get this rain. But
Is it supposed to come in tonight? I saw something about that. Or is
yeah,
it like I don't know if we're gonna get that much because I didn't think, but I haven't fished this week. I've been trying to edit. Yeah, it says it says it's raining right now. I don't think it's gonna be a lot, but I'm gonna go somewhere tomorrow. Even though tomorrow is kind of cooler, it's been like 70s recently, so it's been pretty nice. But I'm gonna try to go somewhere tomorrow that I think I can catch some smallmouth and smallmouth. And and most people know that smallmouth like the cold a little bit easier. So I still might be able to get some of them. I'm hoping they're still biting. I'm hoping I still can either that or maybe a few rock bass because this place has got rock bass too.
it's depending on water temp. Their optimal feeding temperatures probably from anywhere from like 75 to 60. Under that they kind of start to slow down, but those you have I think you're going to have a better chance of catching a really big one
Yeah,
than a small one this time of year.
I've seen some people recently starting to catch some big smallmouth, showing them on Instagram and stuff. But also, a lot of the guys that like the guys that I do like eye fishing or like my kind of fishing and follow me, they'll fish for anything. So especially if you're like a guy that you just got their creek and you're trying to get sunfish, those things can just disappear. It seems like there's not one in there. It's amazing how they're just like gone, but they're just sitting somewhere. You don't see them. And then as soon as it warms back up, they pop back out.
They're,
That always amazes me.
they're sunfish for a reason. They like warmer water than they do cold.
Yeah. I luckily so talking like Tennessee, um and around here, like we have so many options to go for where fish that get active in the cold are all over. We got trout and perch or yellow perch. What's a few other fish that maybe gets more active that we have around here? Can you think of some? That,
Walleye. Walleye
oh,
loves cooler
I,
water.
I
It's
never go for walleye. I need to do that.
walleye are cool. They can actually when it gets their optimal. I think spawning temperatures are in the 40s when it comes to water
Wow.
temp. But sometimes they can make like false runs, and it kind of where conditions and water temps kind of mimic a spawning conditions, and they can make false runs up rivers and stuff. This time of year, you can target not musky, but walleye. Like they're great in like the lake tailwaters where the water's a little bit cooler and they love current. Um, that's probably one of the biggest overlooked species probably around here that gets overlooked and is not fished for enough.
I think it's a different tactic too
Yeah,
a lot. And so it's not something that because I went down below Chickamauga and they fish for walleye down there a lot. And there's this guy down there and there was several and they were all lined up. And I was like, what are y'all fishing for? He's like, walleye. I was like, how are you doing? So he showed me. He's like using basically a little Bobby Garland on like a little jig head. And he
yeah.
got 3 or 4 in like 10 minutes. I'm like, what is this? And I finally caught one, but I'm like, this guy had it down. He like had to figure it out. It's funny, but this guy, engineering hook sets. Hey man, trophy striper or trophy muskie? What would you rather have?
Oh man, I'm gonna have to go trophy muskie.
What size would a trophy striper? I caught. Did you see that striper I caught a while back on a glide bait? I actually caught it
Yeah,
on a glide bait. I surprised myself. I was fishing with reed angling, and I don't know. It was over 25 pounds. It was big. I'm like holding that thing up, and it
I
was
think
out of
for the tart program, I think it has to be 40 inches. So I mean, that's a
cool.
pretty good
Yeah, that's big.
I guess bar to set if you're looking for a trophy striper, in my opinion. But everybody's got different opinions. Heck, I don't mind. I'll catch an 18-incher one, 18
Yeah.
inch, 10 inch, as long as something's tugging my line. I don't care.
Heath Jordan says it's raining right now. Get out of the rain, Heath. Yeah. Start. Tell me where the fish are again. I got to show you where the fish are. Let's see here. Somebody asked a question. Hey, I appreciate it, Fly Righteous. What is your go-to lure for winter, John? Like I kind of, it depends on what I'm fishing for. So, I was gonna give a little update. Recently, me and Chris, Catfish Chris, me and him, I went out and we were like, let's go try to find some crappie. So we went to a bridge where it's a pretty common area. A lot of people locally will go there, and I caught like 3 or 4 little crappie on Bobby Garland's, like just little ones, 132nd ounce jig heads. Went to another one, caught nothing. Went to another one, there was like 3 people there. Went to another one, there was people there. Went to this last spot. I'm like, I know a spot that we can get to. I show up at it, and it looks like Bass Pro. The water, it was like 3 foot of water. It was super clear. It was a little creek right off. It's a popular area that people bass fishing guys get, but I got access recently. I don't know if I have access for long. So, but I walk up to the bank, and there was literally 6 or 7 largemouth that were 2 and 3 pounders just cruising around. There was big bluegill just everywhere. I'm like videoing this. I got it all on video. I'll have the video come out Wednesday, I think. But I look up, there's like this bush down in the tree, and I'm like, there's something on that, there's something around that bush, and it would barely move. It was loaded with crappie. It was crazy. I'd like never seen something like this where there were so many, there was suckers that were under a log, there was red ear. There was just like, and the bass, we couldn't hardly get any of them to bite. I ended up catching one, and it was a small one. It was like 14 inches and just fat. But there was a couple that were probably 5 pounders that were just fat cruising around. Like all these fish were just all bunched up in the mouth of this creek. And I'm like, that's what I do like about the fall and transition. Like things change. Go find different fish to fish for. But if I'm fishing in the wintertime, most of the time I'm using like little Bobby Garlands because I just want to catch whatever I can find. And you might catch yellow bass, white bass, crappie, bluegill, red ear. You might be throwing under a bridge and catch a bunch of different stuff. For bass, I'm gonna go with I mean I'm probably still use the Yum Dinger. That's my main thing, and I'll fish it slower. But yeah, what's your so I saw that on your Instagram. If you don't know, go follow Josh Bean's Instagram. Best fish pictures. We always talk about that. Like, well, it ain't a Josh Bean picture. I'm always trying to get that picture that fish just looks awesome. And I saw about you were tying flies and like selling them. So are you trying to like, do you sell them online or you just selling them locally or?
Uh, I don't have like a website or anything like that. Usually, I'll make a post every now and then if I'm trying just to make a little bit extra cash here and there. But I'm not like trying to like mass produce.
Make it more work than it's worth.
Yeah, I try to do that a little bit, and it kind of became more of it seemed like a job than actually I enjoying it. But sometimes I get in the mood and I really want to flies, and so and I make them custom to kind of what people want. I don't make them generic. I try to make them to the exact way everyone wants them made. Yeah, I mean, if somebody wants some flies tied for them, shoot me a message. I'd be happy to work with you and see what we can do with it.
Yeah, if Josh does something, he's gonna do it. It's gonna be good stuff. Somebody had another question here. Let me get a couple of these questions, then I got some questions for you. We'll get into a little bit more Tennessee stuff. Somebody asked, "Do I fish for trout?" I don't fish for trout that much. Josh fishes for trout more. Have you got into that this year yet? Is it time, or you wait a little bit more?
Yeah, well, I went.
Is it because the water's low too?
Water's very low, so fish are very picky, and it's that summer to fall transition can be weird on fish. And some of the like smaller like wild trout streams have been pretty productive, but like your stock streams they're not going to stock as much with it being low water. Super clear, very they're going to be optimistic predators like birds and stuff are going to be able to get them pretty easy. Wintertime, I'm mostly fishing for trout, so that's my favorite thing to do in the winter. Yeah, I went back in October and fished up Tellico. Did really well. They kind of had a new stocking. It's a delayed harvest, which is a catch and release, artificial lures and only and stuff like that. Yeah, that's kind of what I do in the wintertime is fish trout streams. They're they're cold water species. So I mean, the water's cold. Usually, there's plenty of stocked fish to go around. So yeah, that's fit a lot.
Yeah, I'll try to get into it a little more. Like I don't know, I'll do it some. I like going to places where I can catch multiple species. And I'm also do it differently. So I have to try to make a video on what I do. So some things that like it's like going for muskie or striper. Sometimes I'm like I would like to do it, but it's a good chance I can go out there and not get a single fish. And it's not a waste of a day, but it's like a day where I went out to work and I got paid nothing. So so because this is it is my job. I have to make videos on what I do, but I also at the same time I want to try things. So I'll go for some trout and we went. Was it when did we go? Me and you and Jay went. Was that last year or was that this spring? It wasn't that long, I don't think.
Long it's been. I think it's been right around a year, probably.
Okay. Yeah, and that's Jay will get me into it. Like, hey, I'm gonna go. I'm like, okay, I'll go along. If he's gonna do it, then I'll try to go with him. That's some of that stuff. I tried some fly fishing stuff recently, and I want to try doing that, but also just fishing whatever. I want to try ultralight, just my spinning rods for trout too. And there's we got lots of famous places around, and I think it would be interesting to do videos on some of them. I have some friends recently that they were coming through and they stopped in Pigeon Forge. I can't remember where at, but they said they caught their limit in like no time. But there's some places, but like even that, like I need to go do some of those, just experience it. There's a was it Cameraman Ron I'd fished with? He stopped and he stopped at a place where you catch your own trout and they cook it right there for you. It's like in this little bitty pool.
Oh, that's
but
cool.
I'm like, that sounds fun to do. Like that'd be cool just to go there, eat and everything. Let's see here.
Yeah, it's raining.
What lure do you catch the most trout on? For me, whatever I'm throwing in a place that they stock trout. If they, most, I don't know. I've been catching them on a Yum Dinger. Like I don't even know how they're getting hooked, but I'll be fishing places, especially like North Georgia, where there's like some of the rivers where like shoal bass places where there's just all kinds of big trout that they put in there, and they'll hit anything. And it doesn't matter. You're just getting hammered by stuff.
They buy some weird stuff.
I caught most of the time when I catch them, I just like on the Hiwassee, and I'll just be throwing any kind of little lures, and usually like little crappie lures or just little spinner bait or inline spinner or something most of the time. But those do pretty good. All right, I got a couple questions here. Let's talk about this. Let's see here. What is your what's your favorite fish or fish to go for?
It's definitely smallmouth bass. That's my number one go-to. It's my bread and butter. I love, and it's not lake smallmouth either. I go after them in rivers and streams. That's my favorite thing to do.
Did you do that growing up? Like when you were young, did you go to stream fishing a lot, or was it?
Believe it or not, growing up, I fished the Greenway a ton.
Oh yeah.
I guess that's kind of what made me love it a lot. And
yeah,
I got a little older and I was able to drive. I got out and it was home free then. I was able to just go to different creeks and get in and wade and it wasn't until I got a little older and in college till I started really chasing creek smallmouth or got introduced to it. And I'd trade just about every fishing for that.
Yeah, me and you know some places, and you know way more, but like just the area, like throughout some Middle Tennessee area and stuff like that, where something about those streams, they're just, I don't know, they're just the best. It's like I follow several guys that fish in Arkansas and in the Ozarks, and you see some of their streams that are just super clear. But yeah, it's hard to pass up some smallmouth, especially from those streams that you can just walk along the bank and wade, and you feel like you're right there with them. Those definitely are the ones. That's what I like. I like those creeks that I'm like, I feel like I'm there with the fish.
Oh yeah,
I'm right.
Said probably for about 10 seconds, my power flickered, so I swapped my phone to I guess whatever AT&T does. So hopefully that'll
froze
work.
for a second. I don't know what it was. All right. What's your Matt's fishing mission said? Tennessee or Ohio? Come on now. Come on, Matt.
Tennessee.
What is if you had to pick a place outside of Tennessee? Have you fished outside Tennessee much, or is there a place you that you were like, this place, this state's got some really good fishing? Or
Um, well, I really like North Carolina's got a lot of variety. They got smallmouth, they've got trout, muskie. So does Kentucky. Somewhere I haven't really got into in fish is Arkansas and Missouri. I'm very interested in that. Kind
yeah,
of getting sharks a little bit. It's if I had to, I guess if I had to pick one place, if outside of Tennessee, it probably have to be Georgia.
mm,
But because I mean they got the trout too. They got more bass species than Tennessee does. But I don't know. That's a tough one. It's definitely going to be in the southeast. We got the most variety of fish anywhere
yeah.
in the United States.
Georgia's hard. I mean, Alabama's close. Alabama's got more smallmouth, but Georgia's got a lot, and you can catch. You can find shoal bass and spotted bass and big ones in streams where
Yeah,
it's
shoal bass is on my bucket list. I haven't got to do it yet, and I'm
okay.
like that's why kind of why I picked Georgia. I was like, it's their version of smallmouth, sort of. So it's
Yeah,
in the they look similar, but they're really not the same. But that's why I'd have to pick Georgia. They got kind of the I guess compromised species to what I'm normally going after. I
yeah.
would pick Georgia.
Yeah, I've been able to catch a few shoal bass. I still want to do a lot more of it. That's something I really want to put some effort into and like spend some time out there. And some of those rivers are just weird. Like they're
Hmm.
just different, and a lot in the currents. A lot of them either got really fast current, and that's what they like. And it's hard to even fish it. Like I've gone through a few. I'm like I don't even know how to fish this. It's so fast, but them fish are in there. And one of the craziest things for shoal bass I like didn't realize it was like one of the first times I realized trout can live in some of that super strong current. And you're
Hmm.
like, how's that trout in there? Shoal bass are like that. You're like throwing into a strong ripple or a shoal. It's just pouring through, and you're just like reeling across as fast as you can, and bam, you get hammered. You're like, how'd that fish even see that lure? That was one of those most amazing things. But big copper-nosed bluegill in Georgia. Yeah,
Oh,
everything's Georgia's got all kinds of big stuff. As far as that, let's talk about it. All right, so I got a crazy thing that happened to me story, and if you got any crazy stories or interesting stories, I mean, I probably have a bunch, but people ask me this all the time, like, "What's the craziest thing you've seen?" And I'm like, I can never think of nothing. Like, I know things happen but I just never come to mind. So I have one that's on my mind that happened recently. If you haven't seen it, go check it out on my Instagram. I saw a squirrel swimming across the lake. Now I've seen it on other people's. I think Aaron's Outdoors has a video of one, and I've seen it a couple of times, on Instagram or something. But this is the first time I've ever seen it in my life, where there's a squirrel swimming across the lake. So I'm fishing in a kayak. It's not a very wide lake. I look up, I see something. I just see like a ripple, like I didn't know what it was. Like what is that? So the squirrel's swimming across, and all you see is like this tail. You see, it's a gray squirrel, and it's not a real big one. You just see this bushy tail sticking out, and his arms are just underneath, like just going fast as can be. But you can't tell it. You don't see splashing. It's just like a steady, like stride across the water. So I go up to it and get a video of it, and then he's just swimming, and I'm like, well, that's crazy. So I video it for a minute. I was gonna help him, and I'm like, nah, he's like 10, 15 feet from the bank. I look over and I see some fish, so I start fishing. I look back. Sad story. It's a sad ending of the story. The squirrel, he's sitting on the water just like he was, except his head was just down in the water.
oh
I
man.
was like, oh man, I felt so bad for the squirrel. So I'm like, oh man. I paddle over there real fast. I pick him up with my my paddle, and I set him on the bank. And I couldn't tell if he was breathing or not. I don't know. I'm like, maybe he'll pop back up. I wasn't gonna do mouth to mouth, so but it was just like I was like, I don't know why he stopped. I don't know if there was fish that were like swimming around him because he was like almost to the bank, and he kept looking at me and like swimming in circles. I'm like, just go over there. But that's my crazy. Yeah, I've seen a bear on the bike. That was also a crazy one. But you got anything you want to share?
Yeah, probably one of the craziest stories that happened on New Year's Eve last year. Me and a couple buddies went up to Mountain River Streams fishing Tellico area, and buddies Hunter and Brandon, and we're fishing kind of ways up there. And are you familiar with kind of the bear hunters and stuff that go up in the mountains and have their dogs running and
Yeah. I
stuff?
see them all the time. Yeah, I'll see them.
So we're sitting there on the bank, kind of about to get in the water and fish, and we've heard dogs all day, so we didn't think anything about it. And we hear rustling, and this huge uh, wild hog runs out probably between me and Hunter, probably about ran us over, hops in the river, and just it starts swimming, and trucks and dogs show up, and this dude shoots this hog over top of us, swimming downriver. I mean, one shot takes him out, and it was probably. I thought I was going to get shot at first, but I was highly impressed with the marksmanship that man had, because hog swimming, moving pretty fast in the water because it recently rained, and
Wow.
one shot that thing was down, and I was pretty impressed with it. He came over and apologized for having the I guess the hog ran through there, and I went over and across the river and grabbed his hog and brought it over for him. That's probably one of the most interesting things I've ever
Yeah.
had having fishing with me.
That is wild.
Be aware of your surroundings. I mean, you've
Yeah.
had logs and trees almost fall on you fishing.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of the most dangerous. That was probably like the closest to dying.
I'm going to be watching like hogs and bears now.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was up at the Conasauga. This was a few years ago, and I'm just I'm walking on the horse trail, and I just come around a corner and I see something black, big, standing in the trail, like 100 yards in front of me, and I just froze. I'm like, that's a bear, and it just turned. It went straight up the hill, and then I watched, and it was a wild hog, and there was like 50 of them. Never heard a sound. Like they went straight up this mountain. You know how those, that's crazy how they can do that. It's like deer do that too. But like I could not believe they went up it, and I never heard nothing. Like I would have never seen it if I hadn't have just had this like long straightaway. Like I could have walked up on them and never known it. But oh yeah, I got one more wild hog story. Me and my brothers. It was last winter. We went up. We camped. We went up and camped in North Carolina. We went to some trail. It's actually it's a trout fishing area you've been to. But there's like hiking and trails and stuff. And so we're gonna go up there and camp, and we were gonna do this like 15-mile hike. We get like 5 miles in, and that's all we could do because it's like straight up those mountains are huge. They just keep going. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So we camped there, sitting on the like edge of a ridge, and it's just about to get dark, and all I hear is a hog and like 3 little pigs come around this bend, and they're right on top of us. And my brother's facing me, and me and my other brother see it, and I jump up, I yell, "Hog, hog!" And I like reach for my gun, and the hog just keeps on coming. He's just like walking along, and I yell at it again. I can't remember. I just like yelled. It finally turns and like runs off. My other brother never saw it. He didn't know what was going on. He's like, he thought we were getting attacked or something. But it like just turned around the corner. It was like right on us. I was like, whoa.
hogs, man.
Yeah. The more I think about it, I'm like, I bet like you've been up in some of them areas on the Hiwassee stuff where there's the whole bank is hog tracks. It's just crazy. Like how many are out here? And they're probably all around, and they probably just, go on by and never, we never see it. Or if we do see them, it's just because somehow we saw them. I've seen them come down to the bank one time and get a drink of water. Because I was in my kayak and I snuck up on them. Like, but they're so sensitive to like they hear or smell us. The creek caller says I had a log roll over me sitting on the riverbank. It was crazy. I got pinned a few inches of water. Luckily, a buddy of mine didn't get trapped and called the police.
Man, that's
I flipped my kayak. That was kind of crazy. The first time I had a kayak trip.
Did you flip the Old Town?
No. It was the first one I had. I don't even remember what I got. Got it from Dunham's. Please show up while the giant tree is laying on me. It went to the wrong side of the river. Man, that'd be scary. That's like one of my biggest scares. Like every time I go like kayaking down Fast River, I'm like, I'm gonna fall out, or my foot's gonna get trapped in a log jam, and the current's too strong that you can't stand up or something.
I've been pinned in a raft and stuff like that with a tree that fell in front of us, It's pretty scary, especially when the water's coming rising and you got like high winds and possible tornadoes. You totally forget about the fishing at that point. You're just survival mode.
Time to move. All right, let's talk about some Tennessee state records. So, if anybody has a guess, I'll try to give you a second to think about it. And by the time I see your comment, it's probably gonna be too late, anyways. But we're gonna talk about some Tennessee state record fish. And also, do you know this is for the audience? What is the state fish of Tennessee? And Josh probably knows, but it's weird. There's a twist on that. It depends on where you look. So if you don't know what it is, Josh, what do you think Tennessee state fish is?
If I'm correct, it should be the smallmouth bass.
All right. So in 2005, the smallmouth bass was designated as the Tennessee state sport fish.
Yep, that's figured the loophole.
There's another Tennessee state fish, and it's like one of them it's a sport fish or game fish, something like that. There's another one that is right there. Ramon, you got it. Where'd it go? The channel cat. The channel cat is actually the first one, but it's like this. That's like our. I can't remember. There's a different terminology for it. So, it was funny because I didn't know anything about the channel cat until like a year ago because I always saw the smallmouth. But, anyways, I was like, that's weird. So it's actually a channel cat and smallmouth, but it also depends on what website you go to. I looked it up earlier, and it was depending on what website I went to. It would like tell me one thing or the other. Of course, our state smallmouth, a lot of people know, is 11 pounds, 15 ounces, 12 pound. I was up there. I was up in Nashville not too long ago. And at the TWRA, I did a podcast with, I forgot his name now. I don't know.
Yep. That smallmouth's actually the world record too.
Yeah, and world. And so I went over there and saw it like in the case. And I was telling somebody, I'm like, you can't describe it. It's so big and round.
Yeah.
And so thick that you're like, you can't imagine a fish being that big, a smallmouth being that big.
It's hard to believe it's a smallmouth. We in the office, we've got a replica mount made, and it doesn't look as big as you think it does with it sitting up on the wall. And they brought it down. They were going to go take it to a kid's presentation. And I put it in my hands, and I was like, oh my, like this. Yeah. This thing is huge. I couldn't believe it.
It's like holding up a carp or something. Yeah, it's like I saw it. They also had up there in whatever that TWRA place is. Their main. That's like their main office, I think, isn't it? Up there. They also had a muskie and a striper and a couple other things. But like you can like walk up to it and see it. When you get like I said, when you get up that close to it, you're like, good. This is unreal. Like how something can get that big.
It's like. It's unrealistic and realistic at the same time.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Let's see here. Something happy. I don't know what's going on here. Somebody's not happy. What is the state record catfish? Blue catfish is our biggest catfish. So what's the biggest blue catfish Tennessee has had? Do you know? How many pounds?
I think we just got a new one, didn't we?
Yeah, it was just caught like this year.
Was it like 117?
118 pounds.
118? Yeah.
And the previous one was 112 pounds. So
that beats it by quite a bit.
Yeah, that's a big jump for a state record or something like that, you know. That's I don't even know that. I need to see amount of that. That's a big fish.
Record?
Do what?
Do you know how close it is to the world record?
Oh, no. Where I don't wonder where that. I should have looked up where the world record is. I'll go through. Do it.
Probably Mississippi River.
Where is it that they? Yeah. Where is it that somebody was telling me they have all those big ones? Well, some places have like bigger channel cats than other. We got decent channel cats. Some places have like huge channel cats and everything. But the flathead was 75 pounds out of the Hiwassee.
Yeah.
The state record, like that's crazy.
Giant.
All right, here's one you might know. Big head carp.
Big head carp. Yeah, that one.
It's a while back though.
Yeah, a while back. I think it came below. I think it came on Gun. Was it on Gunnersville?
Yeah,
That was a long time ago. Huge. I think it was
90
what?
pounds.
Yeah, 90 pounds.
Yeah, I didn't know they'd been there that long. But oh, I forgot to bring up, like, you used to work on Kentucky Lake. I just got down doing a tournament on Kentucky Lake. I fished 2 days, hardcore, caught 3 keepers. That's all I could catch.
Yeah.
It was so bad. I don't know. I went to like 5 different ramps. I just kept. I'm like, there's gotta be fish somewhere. But
Yeah, it's weird. They I don't know if they're at winter pool yet. I know they're drawing the water down quite a bit.
it was down, and I didn't know where to fish. It was just everything was bare banks. You couldn't get up in the creek channels. It was really weird.
Yeah,
And the guy, the one of the guys that won it, he like just found them schooling. I'm like, well,
that's
and,
the best time of year. I mean, that fall transition, some days it can be absolutely lights out when you find the area that's got the fish, and then otherwise it's just a wild goose chase.
yeah. So they had another tournament. They had 2 state tournaments, or they had a national tournament with. So we did a state tournament, then they had a national tournament that was was it this week? No, just last week. And the guys that won it went way up to Duck River, way up in the current, where we weren't allowed to go up to Duck River because I would have went up and floated the river. Like I would have tried to find something interesting, but we couldn't do that. So they went up there and they caught a lot of fish. Did really good, but that was a different one. Let's see here. Let's get some interesting things. Our black crappie. How many pounds do you think it was?
5 pounds and some change.
Ooh, close. 4 pounds 4 ounces.
4 pounds 4 ounces.
I didn't have the white one written down.
Okay.
But I got a few interesting ones. Bowfin, Tennessee state record bowfin.
Ooh. 18 pounds.
Ooh, 15 pounds 7 ounces.
Oh,
I've never caught a bowfin in Tennessee. That's a goal. It was caught in Reelfoot. Have you ever been to Reelfoot?
yeah.
Or you ever like fished out there? Or?
Worked out there. We did quite a bit of work on it, and I've only fished it one time. It's a very good panfish fishery.
That's what I always hear, and that's why I want to go. It like sounds awesome.
Yeah,
So I just got there.
Crappie and a lot of big bluegill too. Like, well,
Really?
not like huge, but like above average, like hand size.
Yeah.
There's you in there.
I know we were talking about that recently, and a lot of people were like, "Reelfoot, that's dumb," because they just think bass fishing. And I'm like, I want to go there to see what it's like. I know it's shallow and just different, and it's our only natural lake. Where and you know they always talk about the crappie and stuff out there. So like that sounds like a fun place to kind of go explore, especially on kayak and stuff.
Yeah, it's a beautiful lake too.
All right, here we go. Brown trout.
Ooh. It's either 25 or 28.
Yeah, 28 pounds, 12 ounces.
I think that was out of the Clinch River.
Clinch.
Yeah.
Here's another weird one. Chain pickerel.
Chain.
Which I didn't even know we had a state record chain pickerel. But...
is it out of Kentucky Lake?
It says Kentucky Reservoir. What's Kentucky Reservoir?
Okay, yeah, that's Kentucky Lake.
Okay.
8 pounds maybe.
Wow. Yeah, 7 pounds, 7 ounces.
Yeah,
that's a big chain pickerel.
Yeah.
All right, so that brings me another interesting thing. I wanted to get your thoughts on this. So, I think it was a creek. So I went to a creek here a while back, and I think I know it was a creek. I went and I followed it downstream. It was full of chubs. It was like all chubs, like giant chubs and long ear in Middle Tennessee area, and I thought there'd be some bass. I kept looking, like I was like, there must not be any bass in here. Like I don't know what's going on because it's all chubs. I go downstream, and the water's really clear. And I think it fed into Cross Creeks area, if I'm not mistaken. I think it kind of fed into somewhere around Cross Creeks or like one of those areas. And I follow it downstream, and I cast in. I'm using like a tiny little lure, like for bluegill and stuff. And I have this fish that's about the size of this pencil, probably shorter than that, but long and skinny like that. It comes and hits my lure like 5 times. Bam. In it, and I couldn't hook it. Bam! I'm like, what? I could not figure out. So I put my camera underwater, and I didn't realize I actually got a video of it. And I saw because I wanted to get those long ear, they're real colorful. I put my my GoTech Pro underwater, and I'm just like dangling a little lure, and I'm fishing it, and I go away, and I come back, and then like later I'll review that footage, and it was I don't know if it was I don't know what it was. It was either pike or pickerel or muskie or something, but yeah, it was like 5 inches long, skinny, just super aggressive. But I've never seen one in Tennessee.
It's probably a pickerel.
Pickerel.
Yeah. I don't.
That's wild. That's got me wondering. And now I'm like, I've never fished Cross Creek area really, but I'm like now I kind of want to go out and explore it.
Yeah, we got an oddball record. It's I guess pike. I think it's called out of South Holston.
Yeah, I got that on here.
That was a weird. That I was looking at the records not too long ago, and I came across that, and I was like, man, somebody had to, I guess, let that loose in there.
Oh, here's one log perch. I don't think it was a log perch. I've caught log perch before, and I know what they look like. This thing had a bigger head to it. Log perch have a small, little, tiny.
That's
mouth.
really.
But that log perch are cool fish. Like people don't really even know we have log perch. That's a cool, weird little fish.
That's a good guess.
Yeah, I didn't really think that about that, but yeah, it's a good. But all right, let's see here. I got a couple more. Largemouth bass.
I think it was 15.8.
Yeah, it's I think it 15 something. I forgot what it was. I wrote it down. It took me a minute. I looked it up. The first one said 14 something. I'm like, I know that's not right. They didn't have the new updated one.
Called out Chickamauga.
I thought it was bigger. I thought it was like 16. I always thought it was like more than 16, but I didn't realize it was 15 because I mean, lots of people have caught over 10 pounders and 12 pounders, but
yeah, it was. I think it was caught in 2015. I think.
Yeah, I was right. It was right before, or right when I moved down, or right before I moved down. Because I remember when I lived in Middle Tennessee, when I lived in Clarksville, a lot of people, I wasn't really into bass fishing, and a lot of people would talk about Chickamauga. Like, oh, we gotta go Chickamauga. That's where they're getting big fish out of there. And I didn't realize I'd live down here. Now I live 30 minutes away. I never visit. It's like I don't want to go fish there. I'd rather fish I'll fish a creek that runs into it. But pumpkin seed.
5 ounces.
It is. It's exactly 5 ounces. I don't know if I've caught a pumpkin seed in Tennessee. I don't know where they're at really.
They're pretty rare.
Recently, or this summer, I found this creek in Chattanooga that it's weird. You know what the stump knocker or the what are they called? Spotted sunfish are? Like they're in I think Conestoga, but like it's a weird area where they live. And like there's this creek I found in Chattanooga that's loaded with them, like tons of them. But I don't think I've ever caught one north of Chattanooga. And I don't know if they are. I don't know if their range goes north.
I'm not too familiar with their range, but I mean, a lot of the sunfish like brim, people call them bluegill, those smaller sunfish species, they get moved around a lot. A lot of people will use them as like bait. And I guess they'll dump their buckets out thinking they're saving the fish, but in reality, I mean, that's how a lot of like invasive species get moved. So
yeah. We can talk about that if you want to in a minute, but I got a couple more. What's our biggest drum?
Ooh. Is it 40 something pounds?
54.
54.
I've got.
I couldn't imagine how wide a 54-pound drum would be.
Yeah, it looked like a shark coming through the water. Like, how tall is that? Like, I caught a 15-pounder below Chickamauga, which is this says Nickajack, so same area. And I thought that thing was a monster. I'm like, yeah, 50-pound drum. Like, I don't know. That'd be a crazy one to have like mounted.
Yeah.
Something.
Drum are underappreciated. They're the ones that kind of save the day. You're having a rough day, and they give you a fun fight. And I think they're underappreciated. So
what I can't figure out, I've had people come up here from areas or like north, and they're like, I've never caught a drum before, and I'm like, yeah, we have them like crazy. You know, you might catch them on a worm, you might catch them on a, I don't know, you might catch them on anything. That's the thing. But if you see them, whenever I see them, I can never catch one. Like I'll see them in creeks and rivers where it's clear water. How come they won't? How come they don't like I can never get one to bite like you can a bass or a sunfish.
I know.
Like, do they have to just be in a mood to eat, or and then sometimes you can't keep them off your line?
I know. I guess they have to be feeding. I know they run up rivers and stuff to spawn, so
Yeah.
they could be in that type of mood. Who knows? That's
Oh,
a
maybe that's yeah. But yeah, I never really caught them on lures, so I'll catch them out of the Hawassi when I'm crappie fishing. Sometimes off the bank, and then some days it's like drum, drum, drum. They're hitting like crazy, and then you won't catch them again for 6 months. But all right, here's one I want to talk about: red eye Coosa bass. Of course, it's the state record was 1991, 1 pound 15 ounces. Is there any way that was a real Coosa bass? What do you think?
well,
I got a couple thoughts on it, but
it came out of
it says Parksville
Parksville.
Reservoir.
Came out of Parksville, of course. A long, long time ago. I believe it was in the 50s. I don't know who it was stalked by, but I know the red eye Coosa bass was stalked in several streams that are not in their native range to offer, I think, towards more like a fly fishing opportunity for anglers and stuff. And some streams they've done very well, and a lot of streams they just didn't hold very well, and they've been moved to certain streams that they hold very well, kind of like the Greenway. They hold really good there. I mean, it's possible the species doesn't do very good in lakes. They're definitely a creek to river type bass. That's the type of I guess structure and habitat they like, rivers and streams. I can't say no, but with it being in the early 90s, it's very possible. It's
I used to think it might have been a hybrid, but in the 90s, I don't see how. And also,
say 91.
Yeah, 91.
So we didn't start really, of course. I don't know if people are familiar with it. We got Alabama bass. They're becoming a bigger issue now, and we didn't really start seeing those in Parksville until like early 2000s. So I mean, it's possible they could have been in there before then, but I know they didn't really start seeing them until the early 2000s. So I'm going to go 50-50. There's a chance that they're more than likely not going to spawn with a largemouth. It's not 100%, I guess, conclusive, but all those black bass species can intertwine and breed and create hybrids, but more than likely they're not going to spawn with a largemouth. There used to be quite a bit of smallmouth there, so there's a chance it could have been a hybrid with a smallmouth.
I always wondered that. I don't know anybody from like they fished it hard, but like when I first moved here, and that was only 8 years ago, I remember people telling me that Parksville was like not good for fishing, and this was like from them thinking from like last 10 years, like, oh yeah, you can't go out there and catch anything. And I'm like, this place is loaded with fish. I never understood, but I guess the guy like not too long before that, it was totally different when everything was dead, like from the mining runoff or whatever it is. That's the only reason I think it could be a Coosa bass. Like I think there was some kind of freak way where it had tons of food, there was no pressure, there was nothing else in there, maybe, and it just grew really fast where it couldn't. It's not possible for it to do it now.
Yeah, I know some streams that have hybridized Coosa bass and smallmouth.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's very possible that it could have been a hybrid, and it's depending on what part of the lake. It could have been caught up in the river part, could have been caught in a creek, feeder creek. But I'm not going to say no to it.
Yeah, I just think it's crazy. I like to think about like how things changed from just fishing a reservoir. Like now, like we're probably going to break. Like I talk to guys all the time. Like we're probably going to break the state record Alabama bass again. Like from here, like they're probably just going to get bigger. Like they're, and the way they're growing. And I'm like, maybe that's what happened to the Coosa bass for like a little period of time, or something. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy to think about that, but I doubt. I think from any record that was ever set, I don't see that one getting broken in Tennessee.
Uh, it's possible.
I mean, that's the thing though. Those freaks are out there. That's just those fish are just one of a kind where it's
Just got to know where to.
not normal. Yeah, I know you've got some big ones, and if people want to see some big Coosa bass, go check out Josh's Instagram page. But I like I've talked to you about it, and I've been seeing them in more and more streams where I didn't really think about it, but all of a sudden I'm like, hey, this fish is here, and they're just like popping up in all kinds of streams that I wouldn't have thought. And some of them they're like the primary fish, but then there's a lot of streams where they're just you can go there and catch 4 black bass species.
Yep.
You're like, what are all these fish doing in here? It's great. I like reading stories and hearing about how they did stock them, and then they did that with a lot of different fish back then. Like they removed fish all over the place. Smallmouth were stocked in certain places where now the Guadalupe bass they're afraid they're going to take over their habitat. They're trying to get the smallmouth out of their like areas and different things. So you can go on forever trying to if you're interested in watching videos about that. And I've been watching several watching podcasts and listening to podcasts recently. John Hamm, I think is that his name? John Hamm. He's a biologist in TWRA. Is it John Hamm? I think his name. He's one that's Hammonds. Yeah, he's the one that's like over our east side and like talks a lot about the spotted bass and stuff like that. But what are your involvements or can you talk about what you do with the invasive species and like what's something you do on a daily basis that helps like handle that or deal with that?
Well, the position I got is brand new. It's I can't really go fully into detail about everything, but I mean my primary I guess description on the job is aquatic nuisance species. So yeah, I would be working with, of course, Alabama bass, zebra mussels. I look at I don't know if we'll do anything with it. We could look at since it's aquatic, maybe vegetation. Hopefully, I hope it never happens. But like carp and invasive carp, I hope that never happens. I don't wish that upon anybody. But right now, I mean, a big concern's Alabama bass, of course. It's you can put them in; they can outcompete. They'll hybridize with other species. But with my job, I can't go into super high detail. But I mean, I can talk about it a little bit. But yeah, that's the kind of the gist. It's mainly I'm going to be working with invasive species, and
is a lot of it like do you have to get into like just we need to put up awareness for this. We need to put up posters about this, or we need to. Is it stuff like that, or are you more like diving into like different types of it?
Get into like the biological study stuff. We're definitely we would. I don't know of any plans or projects coming up or anything like that. It's saying it's a brand new position, but
yeah.
I know that we'll probably do some outreach and maybe some education to the public. So that I think that'd be very beneficial. So yeah, it's hard to go in. There's I can't really go into fully with it, but yeah, outreach and education is going to be a big part of it, I think. So I mean,
yeah, I watched some stuff recently where they're changing some rules on I think Douglas Lake. I think it may have been the guy Hammonds. It may have been him talking. I watch a bunch of stuff. It all runs together. But I try to keep up with a lot just because I'm interested in it and I want to be on top of things when people ask me about stuff, especially in our area, and how they're changing the slot limit and they're trying to change up different things. And I always think this like from I know Parksville's not the only lake that's got the Alabama, but I always wonder like the more they tell people to take them out, is that just growing bigger ones? Is that how we're getting bigger ones? Where I feel like some places where they don't ever take fish out, like I like maybe they need to be taking some of these fish out and like let new ones grow up and take pressure off.
It's hard to take them out. It's I mean,
I know there's no luck. There's no point in it now, but
I've kept my fair share of them. They taste
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
The biggest thing about it is just don't move fish. That really just don't move fish. If you're going to take fish home, put them on ice or something like that. It can be a big deal, especially moving it around. So that kind of what drives me too. I love the I guess the future opportunities I'm going to have with this position. It's kind of a passion. I want to be able to help and assist fisheries to get to where they need to be and thrive. And if tackling invasive species is what I'm going to have to do to it, then yeah, I'm going to do it.
It's like it's like, instead of having your own pond, you got the whole state, you're trying to make it a effect on, waterways and different things and learning a lot of stuff. I know you enjoy learning that kind of stuff along the way and learning about different stuff, but I don't know. I bet you do a lot more biology than it's probably not too fun to do a lot of that stuff and figure out things.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's what I went to school for. I mean, I'm not the only one going after the issue. I have a great group of people around me. That's always, I'm always help them with anything, and I know they'd help me. So it's going to be a state and group effort.
I got if anybody's got any questions, get them in real quick. We're about to end it. Appreciate everybody staying on. We got a lot of people watching and a lot of comments. And all right, last question that I try to ask everybody. Like my last question here. If you had the ultimate fishing trip that you could do anything you want, you have no requirements on time or money or nothing holding you back. Like what would you want to do?
I would probably go fish the upper fly fish for smallmouth in the upper Mississippi drainage.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not very common to see river smallmouth like that big, and I'm gonna do it one day. It's just I don't have the
get a wet boys trip. Go.
Yeah, I'll do it. I've talked to some guys that go and fish it some, and I've listened to podcasts that go up and fish it.
I know.
I
listened to was it Smalley?
Yeah.
No. What is it called?
Smalley Talk.
Yeah.
They're really cool. I enjoy listening to them, and they take trips all over the place to go venture.
I like how they do their trips too. They like plan them out, and but that's the thing. They're going to go fish, I think, for 3 or 4 days. Where they really get a good taste of it.
Yeah, that's something I'd love to do one day.
Yeah.
So that going north for smallmouth is on my bucket list for sure.
Yeah, that I think I think that a lot of people just don't understand that. Like, that's something I want to do, but I've heard them talk about it, and I've heard some stuff, and I'm like, it sounds way better than what I hear most people say they want to do. It just sounds amazing, like just going up there and catch, and you can just get just big ones out of rivers and float streams and stuff like that.
It's between that one and maybe going after peacock bass.
Yeah. The thing with I want to do one like Brazil or that kind of area just because it's everything's different. Like there's so many different things, and the whole experience would be just really really interesting. See something like that. I'll be afraid of getting bit by bugs the whole time, and just it'd probably be like a horrible trip. But like 2 weeks after you got back, you're like, man, that was fun. It's just like one of those camping trips that are horrible, but the more you think about it, the more fun it was.
Yeah, it'd be worth it in the end.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on here. Appreciate everybody getting on here. I have another guy scheduled for next week. Says he's going to come on. I don't want to. I have a bunch of people still that we're trying to get in. I don't want to say in case they can't do it, so we'll try it again. But today we were talking about Tennessee. Hopefully, if everything works out next Tuesday, I'll be talking about Georgia fishing. A lot about Georgia, and that's what's cool about living in this area. I like living in this area. We can kind of hit a bunch of different states, and I got to do a lot more Georgia fishing than I thought I would. And it's It's fun. It's got different stuff down there too. So appreciate everybody being on here. Josh, hold on a second, and I'm gonna end this out.